Well, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. On the table in front of us today is a new knife from Work Tuff Gear. I don't really know that much about them. I know that I've seen their stuff online. I know they've got some amazing fixed blades. This was designed, well, by Wingman155 over on Instagram. I think he has a YouTube channel also. This is just an excellent little knife in K110, which is D2. But I fell in love with the design when I saw it because I love that blade shape. I really do. And one of the reasons that I love that blade shape is because I love this. This is the Bark River JX5, designed by Chris Tanner over at Prepared Mind 101. These two knives just pair together very well. Now, one of the reasons I fall in love with this knife is because this blade shape, big belly-heavy front, it comes back towards your hand. It is marvelous for working up close for feather sticks and for light cuts like that. But this is a little big for an all-around camp knife. However, the Mount Laguna here is perfect for around camp. Now, it is K110 or D2, which means you're going to have to take care of the blade if you're going to use it for wet work, cutting food, processing game, you know, whatever that might be. But this has the same excellent blade shape as the JX5, so when you're cutting in to make, you know, feather sticks, or when you're doing stuff right up here towards the handle, you are really, really in control. Also, the way that it is designed right here with a marvelous pinch point, you can come forward. You know, you can grab it this way if you're going to do some, well, skinning, for instance. I wouldn't skin with a knife this thick, but if you had to, you could. It is good for food prep because of that marvelous belly. It is just overall a fantastic little knife. Sorry about that. I had to adjust the lights. I have considerably fewer fixed blades than I have folding knives because I don't really collect fixed blades. What I do is have fixed blades that serve a very specific purpose. I've got my JX5, for instance. On the JX5 sheath, I have mounted something called the Rainier Knives Fast Pack, which is a little LMAX knife that I use for really small stuff around camp. But I'm always looking for good mid-weight knives. Something big enough just to wear on your hip around the camp or when you're out in the field that will serve a multitude of purposes, and this is just one of those. It's really, really well done. It is a thick chunk of K110, and I really like that because it makes it, well, it's got heft. It feels really good in hand. This one came from Work Tuff Gear with a polished, super sharp edge. This thing is a razor, and because it's got this saber grind, I wasn't sure they were going to get there. Now, it isn't what I would call thin behind the edge, but the secondary bevel is done really well. I don't know if that's going to show up. A little bit of a shine that you can see. There you go. But it's surprisingly comfortable. I'm not going to lie, when I first pulled it out of the box, I thought, well, dang it, that's going to be too small. But you know what? It isn't. Because of how thick this handle is. By the way, this is black G10 with these great red liners. It looks really good. It is just really comfortable to hold. Now, I had this today over at my family's property, and I made some feather sticks, and I chopped some wood with it, and I cut some rope, and I did some basic outdoorsy stuff because I don't have an opportunity to go camping whenever I want to. And this thing was just a complete and absolute success. It is an excellent knife. Now, they're about 90 bucks, and for that you get a Kydex taco style sheath and a couple of these attachments. I am going to do away with these and probably put a clip attachment so I can slip this thing in and out of pocket, because quite frankly, just carrying this around in my front pocket on a clip like that makes a lot more sense to me. But you could, of course, replace this with a with any kind of clip to attach it to your belt. This is set up to go scout carry on the back of me, but you can do it any way you like. It does come with a nice sheath. You know, maybe not as nice as the one my buddy Chris made for me for my JX5, but nice just the same, which is a nice touch. You know, you can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on fixed blades and not get this kind of straightforward functionality. Now, do I wish that this was made from a stainless steel? Well, yeah, you know, of course I do. But I have to be honest, that's mostly just a mental thing. I have almost never had my D2 rust because, well, in fact, I've never had one of my D2 or 3V or, you know, one of my non-stainless fixed blades rust because I take care of my knives when I'm out in the field. Doesn't take much, just a little thought, perhaps when I was younger, but as an adult it hasn't really been an issue. But it is there, and you do need to be aware of it. Now, there is a fair amount of billboarding on this smaller knife, which is, you know, you do what you want with that. There's the Wingman 115 logo, and here's the Work Tuff logo, and it says K110, and on this side it says Mount Laguna, and then it says 84 of 300. So if you want one of these, you might want to get on it. And this was made in July of 2020, which happens to be my birthday, and so that works out really well. The spine is wonderfully sharp. This thing works a fire stick like nobody's business, and that, of course, was on purpose. But you want to be aware of it. You could probably cut yourself on that. But today I happen to have a fire stick in my kit, and I did just some test scrapes. You can hear it. And it created a ton of really good sparks. Overall, I think this is probably, well, no, for sure, my favorite sort of stumbled across fixed blade in forever. Now, Chris Tanner over at Prepared Mind 101 did a video of this. And he called it the JX5 fetus. I'm going to call it a baby JX5. It just seems less gross. And that's really what it is. It has a very similar blade shape, as I've said. The handle holds your hand in a very similar way. But this is much more small stuff maneuverable than the big JX5. I think that for 90 bucks, you know, 89 bucks plus change or whatever, this is an excellent addition to any sort of outdoor person's outdoor kit. You may already have a knife that does the job this thing does, but again, this is a monster. Hang on just a second. Well, that took longer than I thought. You can't tell because I paused you, but I'm back. I wanted to grab my calipers because I am curious as to how thick this really is. Let's see. We'll do it in millimeters just because I like that better. We are just shy of 5 millimeters of K110. That is a really thick chunk. Let's go ahead and weigh this thing. We'll weigh it both with and then without and then with the sheath, so you know what you're getting into your kit for. I just love the way this thing feels in hand. Look, it is a little short for me, but because again of how thick this is, man, you just get such a solid grip. 8.4 ounces. Not bad for basically 4 millimeters of K110. Let's put the sheath on it. Uh, 10.8 ounces. Yep. So the sheath is not, you know, it's not super heavy. It's about 2.5 ounces, but it does add a little weight to your kit. So if you're going to throw this in a backpack, for instance, just be aware of that. How long is the thing? Well, let's take a look. The blade on this thing, the Mount Laguna, is 1, 2, 3, 4 full inches of cutting on 4¼ inches, which is not bad at all. The overall knife, tip to tail here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8¼ inches long overall. And the grip area from just behind this choil, it's got a very nice sharpening choil too, by the way. 1, 2, 3 and a half, and then you wrap up the back to 4 even. So it's right on the cusp of too small for me. But you know what? Most people don't have hands as big as mine. I don't think that's going to be an issue for 95% of the population. And in fact, I think for most of you, this thing is going to be really, really comfortable. I'm just blown away. The fit and finish on this knife are perfect. There are no edges anywhere except where you want them, which is right here and right here for fire sticking. Everything else is knocked down and smooth. The fitment of the scales up against the full tank instruction here are perfect, which is really very nice for a $90 knife. Hey, look, you know, it is really very nice. Let's take a look and see what we're talking about here. Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. Now, I've had this out today. I was beaten on this today at my at the family property, and it's still, you know, paper slicing sharp. It's not hair popping, but as a conversation I had recently with somebody, I don't want my knives like that. I prefer them to have a working edge. They slice paper smoothly. They'll do everything you need them to. Of course, that's just my take. So anyway, this is the Work Tuff Gear Mount Laguna, designed by Wingman 115. This is a superb knife, and for 90 bucks, again, I just don't think you can go wrong if you're into fixed blades. Now, I wouldn't call this an EDC fixie. It's a little too thick and heavy, although I could carry it. And if you're big like me, you probably could too. But it's not going to get out of the way super easy. I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap that up here. This has just been a real joy to take out and put a little use on. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the Mount Laguna here, feel free to ask down in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I would love to have you here on a regular basis. We'll see you next time.